John Kennedy is having a hard time keeping Allan Dulles and the CIA in line. The agency is fast becoming a state within the state. As each new attempt to oust Castro fails, Allan Dulles becomes increasingly intractable. He launches a propaganda campaign against Kennedy, blaming him for all the CIA's failures since the bungled Bay of Pigs operation.
And he's absolutely beside himself. He wishes he could tear the CIA down.
He was so angry, a month before he died, he said, I want to take the CIA and take it apart board by board and scatter it to the winds.
Did you ever see any pieces of CIA? I have never seen any pieces of CIA anywhere. CIA has never been smashed to pieces by anybody.
But the agency attempted to stay out of the limelight to a considerable extent.
It began under Kennedy. Bob McNamara was his agent for doing it. He decided to remove them and replace them with men of the left. That's what Kennedy did to the CIA. I watched it, I was there.
John Kennedy decides to curtail the CIA's power and get rid of its powerful chief, Allan Dulles, who is forced to resign. Kennedy, flanked by Dulles, names a discreet but effective little man named John McCone as new CIA director. Allan Dulles is furious about what he calls his firing. He embodied the CIA for 10 years. The agency was his creation. The day after John Kennedy was killed, his brother Bobby rushes to see new CIA Director John McCone with a single question. Did the CIA kill my brother?
The question came up after the assassination in November '63 of the president. Yes, Bobby Kennedy asked John McCone, is there anything there?
The brother's got a right to ask those questions. It's nothing unusual. Why shouldn't he? He should ask questions. He didn't know, and he wanted to be sure. And that's a human question. For one man to ask, did you kill my brother? Why not?
McCone would never admit to that. No head of the CIA is going to admit that there was an involvement with the assassination of a president.
Why would a CIA chief want to kill a president? President fires him, then he hasn't got any. Then the guy doesn't have any tools anyway to kill a president. What would be the purpose? To show he didn't like the president? The president knows that by now.
New American President Lyndon Johnson charges the Warren Commission with getting to the bottom of the Kennedy assassination. Oddly enough, the investigation is handed to Allan Dulles, even though the two hated each other and Kennedy had stripped him of his post. Dulles has his visit to Dallas filmed. Charles Cabell, Dulles' deputy director at the CIA and brother of the mayor of Dallas, assists in the investigation. A few months later, Judge Warren releases his conclusions in the presence of Lyndon Johnson. There was no assassination plot. Lee Harvey Oswald acted alone.
Allan Dulles did his best to sabotage the Warren Commission, I think. If you don't want anything to come out of the commission, then it's not strange. You know, I think it was done on purpose.
My instructions to the CIA were to make all the information available. The CIA virtually emptied its files on the Kennedy assassination, and there was absolutely no evidence of any conspiracy, certainly no evidence that the CIA was ever involved. I couldn't imagine the CIA would be involved in the assassination of a U.S. president. That's beyond the wildest imagination.
You know, people have made a cult out of this, what happened. I haven't seen anything to the contrary that I found persuasive.
The House of Representatives ran on a $6 million investigation. And just as I came to the FBI, they gave me a tape that was, the committee gave me a tape to suggest that there was a second shooter from the hill there, the knoll, the grassy knoll.
It was interesting because when I first came into the CIA, I found out of a Frenchman who claimed to know about the Kennedy assassination. And I can't describe him any more than that, but he provided a lot of detail. And So I wanted to read it. I was curious, just curious. It was pure personal curiosity. So I asked for the file, and they told me it was very, very sensitive, and it was called what's black tape, that they put black tape around it and all these seals so no one can get it. So what I did was I waited for a Saturday when I was on duty and took a request to get the file, and only the director of operations or the director could read it. And I stuck it between a bunch of other requests, and I knew he was very busy. So I went to the director of operations office, put it on his desk, and he very quickly signed them all. So I got the permission to get this. I changed the address where it should go, and I sent it down to files. It was like 12 volumes. This is on the Kennedy assassination. And it came back, said, sorry, file lost. Disappeared.
I cannot tell you how many conspiracy theories I have dealt with over the decades. And the one thing I know is that conspiracy theories in Washington, D.C. don't hold water because nobody can keep a secret. And particularly for a long time, and particularly if there's a lot of money involved, if they could sell it to the newspapers or a journalist or something like that.
Nobody keeps secrets that well. I mean, there were thousands of people that had to keep the secret in the FBI and the CIA and the Army, the Pentagon, everybody, about killing Kennedy.
The reality is the Kennedy assassination is the greatest secret that America has. We don't really know what happened.
Several months after Kennedy's assassination, Lyndon Johnson begins reconsidering the late president's plans to withdraw American military advisors from Vietnam. He tells an impatient general to get him elected, then he can have his damn war.
We were very skeptical throughout much of the Vietnam War about the ability to essentially beat win a guerrilla war against the North, as long as the North was kept as a primary sanctuary.
In August 1964, the CIA fakes a North Vietnamese attack against an American warship in the Tonkin Gulf. This totally contrived attack gives Johnson the pretext he needs to increase the number of American soldiers in Southeast Asia tenfold and begin bombing North Vietnam.
The United States destroyer Maddox was attacked on the high seas in the Gulf of Tonkin. The attacks were deliberate. The attacks were unprovoked.
It was most likely a fake attack, or probably never happened at all. It could have been totally misunderstood by the people on the ship, thinking they were being attacked.
The captain of the ship sent in a message saying he had not seen anything, and that he was now questioning all of his earlier messages, and that he believed there was a real possibility that he had been fighting a phantasma. The Pentagon and the presidency chose to ignore his last message, and they chose to use the Tonkin Gulf incident as an excuse for going to war.
That brought about a resolution which changed a lot of different things, for sure.
The determination of all Americans to carry out our full commitment to the people and to the government of South Vietnam will be redoubled by this outrage.
That was used as a pretext to escalate the war.
That incident was used as a justification for other action.
Now we know that it was a lie. At the time it happened, people were suspicious, but it was only later that their suspicions were confirmed. And it was shown very clearly that it was all a pretext, a phony story.
Inside Vietnam, Operation Phoenix begins coming together. The CIA is told to carry out a series of assassinations targeting civilians to paralyze the country. CIA experts teach special teams how to terrorize the population by killing teachers, doctors, and businessmen. Each assassination is signed every time a death squad's killed. William Colby, the CIA agent who headed up the operation would become head of the CIA a few years later.